Good day, I will discuss the car engine cooling system. I am Marine R. Ronquillo from BTLEIA 3B. What is car engine cooling system? This is designed to keep the engine from overheating by controlling its temperature. When an engine runs, it produces a lot of heat due to fuel combustion. If this heat isn't managed, the engine can damage. The cooling system helps maintain an optimal temperature for performance and longevity. This is the diagram of car cooling system. So later, I will discuss the parts and function of car engine system. What are the parts and function of car engine cooling system? The first part is the coolant reservoir. This is a plastic tank that holds extra coolant. The function of coolant reservoir is to store coolant and allows extra coolant to flow in and out as the engine heats up and cools down. It ensures there is always enough coolant in the system. In the diagram is the radiator cap. It is a pressure sealing cup on the top of the radiator. The function of radiator cup is to maintain pressure in the cooling system. To raise the boiling point of the coolant, it also releases excess pressure to the reservoir if it gets too high. Next picture is the radiator. It is a heat exchanger with tubes and fins located at the front of the vehicle. The function of a radiator is to cool down the heat coolant by allowing air, helped by the fan, to blow over the tubes, transferring the heat away from the liquid. The next part is the radiator fan. So it is an electric or engine-driven fan located behind the radiator. So the function of this is to help pull air through the radiator when the vehicle isn't moving fast enough to cool it down, like when idling or in traffic. This is the water pump. So it is a mechanical pump powered by a belt connected to the engine. And the function of water pump is to circulate coolant throughout the engine, ensuring it flows through the cylinder block, cylinder head, radiator, and back. Next part is the thermostat. It is a temperature-sensitive valve that opens and closes. The function of thermostat is to stay closed when the engine is cold, keeping the coolant in the engine to help it warm up faster. Once the engine reaches the certain temperature, it opens to let coolant flow to the radiator for cooling. Next part is the cylinder block and the cylinder head. That's the diagram picture of the cylinder block and cylinder head. These are major engine components that house the combustion chambers and cylinders. The function of this is to coolant flows through passage, the water jacket in these parts to absorb heat directly from the engine. The next part is the throttle body connected to the cooling system. So it is a part of controlling air intake into the engine. The function of throttle body, some systems use coolant to warm the throttle body to prevent icing and ensure smooth airflow in cold weather. This diagram is the radiator outlet hose. It is a large hose that connects to the radiator to the water pump. The function of this hose is carries cooled coolant back into the engine to continue the cycle. Next part is the heater coil. It is a small radiator located inside the cabin parts of the car's heating system. The function of heater coil is to use hot engine coolant to warm the air that gets blown into the car when you turn on the heater. The last part is the temperature gauge, so a dashboard indicator that shows engine temperature. The function is to let the driver monitor whether the engine is running at the safe temperature, alerting them to overheating or any abnormally cool engine. Why cooling system is important? The cooling system is important because it prevents the engine from overheating. When the engine runs, it produces a lot of heat. Without the cooling system, this heat could cause serious damage to engine part. The system circulates coolant, a mix of water and antifreeze, through the engine, absorbing heat and carrying it into the radiator, which is its release into the air. It also helps keep the engine in an optimal temperature for better performance and fuel efficiency. Without the cooling system, the engine could overheat, leading to breakdowns, costly repairs, and even total engine failure. Thank you!